thanks for joining again. We're all here. I see all the people in the previous session, and I leave the floor to Martin. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Hope all people are successfully joining the session. Can we see that? Quite a few. Good to be here. Good to see you. We are having the nice opportunity to have a small version of one workshop inside another workshop. And namely, this session is going to be about the Marketplaces horizontal workshop that was already mentioned and was recently held in Berlin. It was a very nice get-together with hopefully some results that we can build on in the future. We have seen how they connect to the roadmap. And we're going to have an overview from Silvia Klakeda, and then we see two marketplace projects in action. That would be the marketplace project, which is called Marketplace. This will be presented by Pablo de Andres, who it seems is not here, will probably present virtually. And finally, DOME 4.0, the data marketplace or marketplace of marketplaces, which will be presented by CMCL colleagues, either Bijan Yadolai or Amit Bave or both, who are not here, but maybe they are present in hybrid mode. So let's not lose more time and let us get started with Silvia's overview presentation on the workshop.
So hello everyone again. Silvia, and what I will present are a brief summary of what we discussed in Berlin. And this is done in collaboration with colleagues at Fraunhofer who organized the workshop and with the colleagues at Corporate Consulting. So this event was towards materials and manufacturing commons. The enablers digital marketplaces, fair principles and ontologies was a hybrid event we held in Berlin at the beginning of April 2023, organized by Monica and Juan and Dirk from Fraunhofer IWM. And you can find on the website, you can find all the links to the videos, the recordings of the event. And so what it was a very interactive event with talks, roundtable discussions, and so on. We had about 100 people and like for 20 countries. So here is a nice picture from it. So what were the goals? The goals were to discuss data sharing and interoperability for material manufacturing commons. And targeted both the Italian industry, so there were ontologists, developers, domain experts, and industrial stakeholders. And the outcome, so we learned about experiences and lessons learned from the digital marketplaces projects, namely VIMP, Marketplace, and DOME 4.0, and the second two you will see in a moment in this session, as Martin said. We had an overview of multiple initiatives around fair principles and implementation. And you will hear a bit about this in the related sessions. And then there were discussions on the ongoing work on the AFA in 2030, so the Advanced Material Initiative 2030. And there we discussed the needs, the barriers, and the next steps we need to take for this to happen. Then we gathered ideas about semantic technology and ontology of state, building trust was an important keyword, and sustainable business models. And then there were many examples of use cases in the talks and processes. So in this talk, what I will do very quickly is just to give you highlights from the days 1 and 3, especially from the interactive parts. So you hopefully you have a digested version of that. You don't need to watch it again on the videos. And so the keywords on the left, I think I mentioned already some of them. So marketplaces, data spaces, material data spaces, material commons. Then we had all the phases of production design, modeling and manufacturing. And for design, we had colleagues from MEDA, which is a bureau of European Design Association. And then we had fairness, another keyword. Then another, you heard already, is the knowledge management translator. That is a proposed role. And then it's the collection of information. We had a list of projects and list of material manufacturing platforms like data spaces and so on, including, for example, Material Digital and so on. And on the right, you see some highlights of the discussions. So from the European Commission, we also had the representatives of the Commission. So the Green Deal and circular economy are priorities. We heard about the need for training, technical and cultural aspects, for example, around trust, data ownership. Then we heard about the balance, the importance of a balance in semantics between rigor and utility. So the typical fight between, let's say, philosophers and practitioners. Then we discuss how creativity needs flexibility, and this brings us to prescriptive versus open frameworks. Then we discuss sharing and IPs, ontology learning, like machine learning, using machine learning to create ontologies. We discuss theory versus practice and standards and ontologies. So here is just a very high-level summary. Here is just an example of, so we have interactive sessions. So actually, it would be nice to ask you what you would answer here. So we ask people, how is your materials data today? And from the 20 or so people who answered this, we saw that it is very little open, very little linked, fair, semantically rich, very little human readable, machine readable, and there is not much data stewardship in place. So the situation. Okay, you can ask how quantitative this is, but it gives an indication that the state of practice is not ideal. And then we ask people, how do they envision things to be in 2030? So, for example, which kind of dimensions might be relevant for that exchange? And all of the, I don't know if it's too small to read, but so, for example, we mentioned the importance of IP-based exchange, open data, fair data, ontology-based data exchange, and one-to-one exchanges, and all were considered relevant. As well as different levels of international organizations were considered realistically likely, like national and European level. And here when it comes to, as I mentioned, the needs, barriers, and next steps for material commons. So when it comes to the needs, the highest ranked features were platform security and data quality. So the security was the main concern. When I'm talking about materials and manufacturing commons, I'm talking about some data space where people can share data. So I see a raised hand. I don't know if this question. Sorry.
If you want to hear them right away, why not?
Yeah, depends how urgent they are. Where were we? Yes, so we were saying that, so sorry about that. So we were saying that the highest ranked need was platform security, and then the usability and traceability of data usage, and transparency of governance, and the rights to withdraw anything from the provider side, if need be. And then the need of a clear added value for both users and providers. So just to recall you, we're talking about these common data spaces. The barriers are, the highest ranked one are the extra development needs to join such a space. Like if you are a provider, why should you join some common data space? And then the typical confidentiality, security concerns. These are the highest barriers. And then it also follows complexity and lack of skills and knowledge. And then a very important point was the sustainable business models issue, because typically projects end at TRL 5 or 7, and still to bridge till TRL 9, you need some different business model. And the next steps are to involve and create partnerships with scientific societies, adjacent disciplines, and large companies, develop tools, documentation and training, and move closer to industry and applications. And again, as I said, sustainable funding models. From the discussion, so this overlaps a bit with what we heard before from the roadmap. So the bottlenecks for semantics, the main one is the bridging between domain experts and ontologists, and the need for lots of manual work. So what was suggested is that intermediate representations would be useful, and both training and technology are needed as solutions. So then we discussed what used to be called ontology learning in the past, so to create ontologies using AI. And from the discussion, the outcome was people think AI can help to acquire knowledge and generate a first set of terms. And it would be useful to have it to create this bridging between experts and ontologies with provenance links. So for example, I suggest concept X based on text Y I read, which at the moment is not the case. And what currently I cannot do properly are logic, alignment, and trust, as I just said. And so, yeah, human in the loop is still needed, and because of both domain and ontology language rules knowledge. And then there was a discussion about the different layers of data, so different concerns for different people, like computer scientists, ontologists, and domain experts. They share some concerns, but they also have different perspectives. And we discussed the difference between terms and concepts and all the other layers you need. And then there was a discussion about fairness and how this relates or not to the fairness of content and data quality. So there was some discussion about this. So there is overlap, but they are distinct aspects. So that might be fair, but not necessarily quality data, right? And then about design and co-creation. So design has changed. So recently, the entire product life is assisted and data-assisted and data-driven. And the user is at the center also as early adopters, for example. And one of the highlights was the importance of flexible interfaces so that you get the right response for the right user, not the same interface for everybody. And to involve users in the product co-design. So the importance of visualization. And we will hear also about this in the prototyping lab. And then about sharing an IP was suggested a pre-competitive collaboration on common pain points could be a way out. So yeah, so next, so there will be, this analysis was a brief one, but there will be a longer deliverable in preparation about the results of this event and the collaboration with the digital marketplaces. And I would like to thank the colleagues who took notes and prepared the media. And then here you find, you find the references to everything I mentioned and the acronyms. And thanks and sorry for the technical issues. Thank you.
Yeah, many thanks for the comments. We have seen quite a few raised hands, but they were all about the sounds. Can we see the question right away to that?
Yeah, I can see questions from the audience now. Unless, no, there's no questions.
Yeah, no? None? Okay, there are none. So we might probably now get the presentation on the marketplace from Pablo from IWM through our favorite platform, AirMeet. Is this the case? Is it possible?
So first of all, thank you, Sylvia and Martin, for the introduction. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it there, but hopefully this is good enough. At least I think online they can hear me properly. I'll set the timer, but I will aim to do it as fast as possible. Just 3 slides for presentation in the beginning, so you have an idea, and then I will go to the actual demo, which I think might be more interesting. I tried to do something similar, but a bit different from what we did in Berlin. So if people are on both, you don't get terribly bored. Let's see. Yeah, first the 3 slides about the project, then the demo, and then some publicity. Basically, the marketplace is this platform developed in this marketplace project, which is a Horizon 2020 program started in the beginning of 2018, and it's finishing this month. So stress, but good. And I think something also worth mentioning is this sustainability concept. So we're trying to, or the goal is to create an association that continues with this work forward. So the issues that Sylvia mentioned should be tackled, and this can go forward and develop further. Here you have just the logos from the consortium. There are different target users or different the audience, the targeted audience is from different perspectives in this platform. You can have the industrial R&D focus on SMEs that basically need to do some research and they want to do some new development. You can have researchers that want to bring their investigations forward. You can have a software manufacturer or developer who wants to offer a certain tool to all of these people, and you can have a consultant which their goal is basically to advise and to help all of these stakeholders in different in their different activities. So our goal is to have this one platform where people can come in and all of these different perspectives can collaborate. And for this, we can think of different actions or different things that can be done. You can explore data and different kinds of heterogeneous data on this platform. You can interact, and for this, you need training and learning. So I will get back to this in the very last slide after the demo. But of course, you also need to be able to create data and add data that can be explored. This is either by hosting some kind of data in data repositories or by interacting with certain software that produces new knowledge. And so we want to kind of enable all this through the marketplace where users come here and they can discover all of these things. I'll just get right onto the demo. Stop me if at any point I should do something else, but if not, I'm just going to continue. And this is the platform, which is now open. I'll get back to this in a moment, but basically now anyone can come here. This is, by the way, materialsmarketplace.eu, but you can register. I will repeat this later. Basically, there are also different ways to log in. I'm just going to quickly log in through GitLab. And the first, well, actually, the last point I mentioned is that you can create knowledge. So I'm going to demo this by creating or by registering a new software. And this is going to be called Sympathics. This is a tool that a colleague of mine has developed in Fraunhofer for simulation. So I can come here, I just say, okay, I'm going to register Sympathics. I confirm that I have the rights to do this. And we come to this page. I can see this as an admin because I created this. I can add all the information I need to add here. So I can choose a picture, which I had ready. I can choose a text for a summary. So I can store this, I can add some metadata, and this is all ontology based. So here I can come to the materials and say, well, Sympathics is a software which has to do with continuum material, and particularly single phase solids and polymers. For those that know all these things, I can choose individual ones. I can also just say it applies to all the polymers. And now that means, and this, as you see here, it has an MO identifier, an IRI, so this is ontology based. And I can fill in all of this data, which I'm not going to do right now, but you can go through all of these categories. And another important factor is that you can join this with different people. And thanks, Yoav. He sent the link to this platform on the chat. And so here I can say, for example, Klaas, who is my colleague who developed this software, is an expert on this software. And for example, I could also say that Bastian is also an expert on this. I can say that the organization where they work, where this has been developed, is Fraunhofer. And if you remember from this brief page here where I was in the create, these are the knowledge items, right? So you create experts and then you link them and you come to this software and you say, well, these experts are related to this. And then this way you kind of build a graph interconnection. So if I go to Klaas now, I can see all his metadata and I can see that he's related to Sympathics. Okay. And this is the admin view. Of course, people with less rights will see less things, but this is a summary of what they would see. You can add also websites, external links, some contact information, some admin rights, and so on. And the particular thing about software is that maybe I will show the explore page first, so to finish this part of this knowledge. So if I want to browse or I want to find this, we have this search page. I can of course say Sympathics. When I get Sympathics, I can search for all of them. There's a connection to the forum, so you can see things like this. I can filter by this. So if I want to find, only the apps, Sympathics will be here. I can also filter by this metadata, right? So we said this is a material, was it single phase solid polymer. So if I look for these ones, was it natural? Sorry, my bad. Let me check. Continuum, single phase, solid, polymers. Okay, sorry. Here, yeah, we have these sympathics here, and so we can explore knowledge. Maybe here now I can brief that this briefly mention this. This is getting data from different sources. So you have here the sources. You have the knowledge page, which is what I just showed. You can search in applications that you register. You can search in the forum. So we have here in Learn and Discuss, there is a deployment of a discourse platform. So you can also add information there, and so on. You can add different sources there. This is how you explore search knowledge. Sorry, I won't go too much into this because this was also shown in the other demo. But to go back to sympathics, now there is a dashboard. So this is an application, which means I want to register software. To register software, I won't go now too much into the details, but you have to add some input information. I will point you to places where you can get all of this information. But basically, you upload a mapping file, which is a standard format. You register this. And this is successful, and there is here a client ID, which is important to know, and the secret. Now, if I go to the summary, this says it's pending, but I have someone in the background waiting for this. So if I refresh this, it's approved now. But this is because Joab is there approving it. So he's an admin, and he approved this just for the demo purposes, which means now I can purchase the app. This is again the same ID. I will come back to this in a second. And now here we also have a way to test that the apps is working. So this is just mainly for testing purposes, but I can check, there are different capabilities that I register. So when I register a software, I do a mapping with what this application, this software has, and what Marketplace recognizes via this OpenAPI file. And basically this is this can be tested here. And now we can see that the Sympathics app is up and running. But this is mostly just for testing. I mean, no one wants to come here and do the requests one by one. And so I will point to something quite cool, in my opinion, my biased opinion, that we have done, which is an SDK. So you can interact with Marketplace and specifically with apps via Python. I hope you can see this well enough. I can try to make this a bit bigger, but it's not the best for this. I'm just going to assume you can see this. And to interact with the Marketplace, I need two things. I need to know which app I want to interact with. And for this, I have this ID that we got in the beginning and that I've mentioned a couple of times. So now I register an app. It has a unique identifier, which means I know which app I want to interact with. And I need to show Marketplace who I am and how I am allowed to actually do this. For this, every user has in their profile a token, so I can copy this token, which is, I would say is pretty hard to fake because it's this huge string. And then I'm creating a connection to Marketplace. I'm saying, okay, this Marketplace deployment, this is my user, and now I connect to the app and I get Sympathics. And what can I do with Sympathics? I can do things like I just showed you online. I can get this heartbeat to check that the application is running. I could come here and prepare this text, right? Sympathics.heartbeat, and I get the output. And if I go here and I do Python test, there will be a small warning because of some dependency. It has nothing to do with Marketplace. We see here Sympathics is up and running. But I mean, okay, I can check that the app is connected. This doesn't really do much, but I can also start the simulation. And so knowing what input Sympathics needs, I can say, okay, Sympathics, start the new transformation. This is the payload, right? So have a laser, because Sympathics is going to simulate a laser going through a powder bed. This is one of the use cases for Marketplace. And you say, okay, this is the input. You have the laser, the strike, the speed of the laser, and some other configurations. And now I can tell Sympathics to start the new simulation. And starting the simulation, once you are familiar with the documentation for Marketplace, you will know that it will also give you an ID for this simulation, which means here I am missing this simulation. Okay. And now if I run this, I guess I won't get an output because I didn't do anything with this simulation itself. But then I could start the simulation. So I can come here and I can tell it start the simulation. I'm also going to do, because of time, the next step, which is print all the simulations. So if we revise this, basically, I start the new simulation. Now there will be probably 3 running there with the same configuration. Each one has an ID, and then I can go. I start them, and then I go to Sympathics and tell me, get me all of your simulations, and then I print some information. And all of these methods are standard to all software that is connected to Marketplace. So this is what I will switch in a second, but just to finish this software demo, I get the heartbeat, I start a new simulation, and you can see here this one is created, and the last one that I created and I also started is running here. And so you can see, and it's running on the background, then you can get the data, you can take this data and send it to some other simulation, and because we have this unique standard way, it's the same for all. I'm talking about this standard and unique way. This is basically what you get in our user docs. So the user documentation is hosted on Read the Docs. Here you have all the information about how do I connect, how do I register an application, what does it mean or what is needed to register an application. And here we talk about these capabilities where you say, my software allows me to do these 5 things, these 10 things, only these 2 things. And based on this, you do a mapping that Marketplace is aware of what you can do, and that then all users only need to interact with Marketplace to interact with all of the registered applications. Another important thing is GitHub. We have here a public repository.
Pablo, one thing that, we lost a lot of time. I just want to, could you pay attention to that?
To finish the 15 minutes.
We lost a lot of time with all the audio thing, but yeah.
Yes, I will finish it under 15 minutes. And then you have time for maybe one question, if it's not too mean. Here we have all of the software, so the documentation. This Python SDK that I just used is registered there. We also have a standard API registered there, so how what applications need to support, and all of these capabilities that I just mentioned are there. A lot of information. I can't go through it right now, which brings me to my final point, which is the Marketplace Workshop. So this goes also in line with what Silvia mentioning, that we need to make sure that platforms are open, that there is training, that there is teaching. I would like to just briefly mention here this workshop, which is happening in 8 days. We'll go through this, which I just did in 14 minutes, a bit more slow. We will also show a bunch more. We will allow everyone to do it at the same time. So like I just mentioned, the platform is open. You can register. You can do this on your own. If you want to be walked a bit through it, we will do this, like I said here. I will post this link now, and that's it. 14 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, many thanks.
Thank you.
I personally found this very impressive, and as you suggested, one question. Maximum one question. We have probably one. Do we have one?
It was you sending the registration link for this workshop.
Okay, people are so impressed. I'm sure I personally would have many questions, but since we are so tight now with the time, let us go ahead with forward to Amit's presentation. Many thanks again.
Just write me if you come up with any questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
I realize we are short on time. Just a quick thanks to the organizers, to the OntoCommons project and the session leads for inviting us. My name is Amit Bhave. I'm from CMCL, and I'm the coordinator of the DOME 4.0 project. And today would be a short update on the marketplace ecosystem and the business-to-business showcases. So I won't want to repeat too many things. So I've tried to, with the team, I've tried to put some new results and updates. For the recent updates on the project, there are quite a few of my colleagues from DOME who are present in Oslo, so at the workshop. So feel free to ask them all the tough questions. Recently, we presented at Berlin and also at the EMMC International Workshop. So I don't want to go through all the details, but there are presentations available if anyone is interested. I would stick to these 4 points for today's presentation. I'll just introduce the DOME 4 concept and showcases. And then I would like to cover the showcases with the DOME 4.0 onboarding and the learning and the lessons learned and the aspects related to that. Then I would like to cover briefly sort of the status of the core platform that we have released, an alpha version, and how are we developing ontologies in collaboration with OntoCommons as an enabler for the digital services. And finally, just a summary at the end. Goes without saying that would like to acknowledge the contributions and the hard work done by each and every partner in the DOME team. So let's get started with the first point. So DOME is a EU Horizon 2020 project, and it's about creating an open marketplace for industrial data. So as Pablo gave the demo on the marketplace side, I think what DOME aims to build is marketplace of marketplaces, or marketplace of databases, etc., or knowledge bases, and that's the problem we are trying to solve, which means anything to do with silos, interoperability, semantic interoperability, and decision making. So the DOME 4.0, these letters DOME stand for Digital Open Marketplace Ecosystem. It's a multi-sided ecosystem where you have participants. Once they're identified, they can take roles or as a data owner / consumer, or data provider / data owner, as well as core technology developers and the services, digital services developers. The aim for DOME is to essentially, the word is connect, and connect becomes one of the most crucial words in the DOME project. And it's to connect with other marketplaces, data sources, such as knowledge bases and open simulation platforms as well. What we have within DOME is a plan to deliver 9 industrial B2B showcases, and I'll also give you a brief update on that. We are concerned with fair monitoring of data, and again, very closely working with the excellent work that has been done within OntoCommons, or the partners within OntoCommons project about fair monitoring. So just to give you the 9 sort of the summaries of the 9 B2B showcases, I won't go through the details of each and every entry in the table. What I would like to do is just present 2 first, and just to give you the methodology here, the methodology being
Amit, one remark. We're all seeing your first slide. Is it on purpose?
No, I was it should move. I'm on slide 9 already.
No,
yeah. Maybe I should present it in this view then. Is this any better? Because if I do this, can you see the second slide?
It's the third slide.
Sorry, I meant it says slide 2. That's why I said second slide. So do you see these slides in terms of the content slide and the acknowledgement of the partners with the logos?
Yes.
Okay. So I was doing exactly that. I don't know what has happened then. I'll just run up from the start. So now I'm on slide 5. Is it reaching you?
It's in principle, yes, but it looks like you're counting the slides in a different way. I see slide 6.
It's not a presentation slide. It's working.
I just have. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to see what is being shared. And
I see project name DOME 4.0, Digital Open Marketplace Ecosystem 4.0.
Yeah. So
this slide 5.
Correct. Yes, correct. So I'm showing slide 5, and so the number of slides is I'm reading from the bottom left here.
It's
right?
We have a different number, but it's the same slide.
Oh, right. Okay. I have no idea why. Okay, I'll just give a quick recap. So if you see the figure on the left here, which is the multi-sided marketplace or the ecosystem with... Hello?
The next one, maybe.
How is this happening? How is this happening?
Parallel dimension, I guess. Yeah. Now we see digital open marketplace ecosystem.
Okay, maybe there's a lag or... I'm off the presentation mode. Can you still see my...
B2B showcases?
Yes, correct. I think I'll just present it. I'll just present it this way. I have no idea what's happening, but so I'm on slide 8 now, and I'm just presenting two B2B showcases. One is in Showcase 1 and Showcase 5. Showcase 1, so I've moved on to a slide called SC1, which is about maritime emissions and air quality. Can you just confirm that you're on the same? Okay. So here the main objective is to how to enable DOME 4.0 to perform cross-domain and cross-sector showcases. Here being a showcase where we are tracking, for example, live ship locations around the world, the emissions from these ships as a function of different fuels, and how do they then interfere with the as an impact of the local weather, local in terms of the impact of local weather, the local architecture, etc. I'll just increase this. And we use ontologies for each of these domains, whether it's to do with the actual ship locations and to represent knowledge representation of a ship as an asset, to the weather as well as so humidity, wind direction, wind speed, etc., as well as down to the atomic level or the molecular level of chemical species. The same thing, the other SC5, the Showcase 5, is to do with how to use DOME as a connection between Market 4.0, which is to do with manufacturing marketplace. It's an existing marketplace, again, funded by the European Commission, with the Optimade, which is an open database for material design, as a separate knowledge base. And DOME semantically connects with both Market 4.0 and Optimade in this case. So you can search a material and then semantically it connects to the available data catalogs for machines that can be used to work with the materials at hand. So that's, I've just gone through hopefully the concept of DOME and the showcases that were done in a standalone offline mode. There are now, we have progressed further. This was part of the Berlin talk as well. We have moved on and done new showcases now. And these showcases have been onboarded with DOME 4.0. So just a status on that. So I'm purposely selecting two new showcases, one to do with polymeric additives for coatings. This is run by Fraunhofer IFM, and the turnkey services and custom workflows. And this is the Optimade showcase from EPFL. In terms of polymeric additives for corrosion selection, DOME 4, we want to use it as a central platform to enable data sharing across multiple sources, in this case, PubChem, Contox, and then want to provide data based on the fly prediction services. So this is part of the data provision as well as the digital services that go with it. In short, as a glance, you can search smile string representation of a molecule, and then DOME gathers all the data that's relevant to this search or this query based on data sources such as Contox and PubChem, and then it provides an on-the-fly prediction for water solubility as well as surface absorption. So this is just to state that we have multiple data sources that are supported. and currently the status is can we containerize it and provide it as an offering via the Dome platform. That's on SC3. On SC6, we have a similar showcase, principally to link atomistic data, so molecules and crystal structures, with the various modeling tools provided by IDA Lab. Here, essentially at a glance, you can have a user query for the crystal structure of a molecule. Then Dome hands off the crystal structure in query results, and it hands over the control to IDA Lab if you need to perform quantum mechanical calculations. And if the data exists, then it has developed Dome has a semantic connector to Optimade, whereby you can retrieve existing data. And as I mentioned, Dome is all about data. So whether data comes from simulations or experiments, it doesn't matter. So in terms of the data availability, what it reaches out to via the connectors is the materials project data, then crystallography open database, open quantum material database, as well as Nomad. In terms of online execution, so we are again in that proof of concept demonstration phase. What more needs to happen in terms of authentication and authorization support, also need to know access. All these toolkits are being built within Dome. We are in month 30 now, so in the third year of the 4-year project. Just to give you a quick illustration, in terms of the clearinghouse within Dome is meant for gaining access, logging the data about the user activities, and taking the participant through the system, right from searching to the final data provision. In this case, the Optimade connector would take that search and pass it on to IDA Lab and perform the quantum mechanical calculations to then provide the data back. So that's about the show. So Dome as a concept, showcases, and Martin, just to check, how much time do I have? I guess -3, but
you have -11 minutes.
-11. Okay, I'll jump to the core platform ontologies and whiz past through very quickly, so that hopefully we have some time for questions. We're working on the semantic enrichment of the data. So we use DCAT as the formal vocabulary, and then using alignment with EMMO to semantically enrich things such as DCAT, DC terms, etc. So that's just to give you a view of the work done and the mapping between the concepts between DC terms and EMMO in this case, and so on and so forth, moving from dataset ontology to the actual ecosystem ontology. And Sylvia has a poster here at the in Oslo, so feel free to prod us with more questions. So the ecosystem ontology again reuses the knowledge available from EMMO, EVMPO, DCAT, as well as the minimal service model. And as you can see, the different concepts in terms of platform service that it offers, as well as the standard HTTP methods with regards to connect, get, post, and put. It's also extends to the business aspects. So here we focus on the offering class, and then offering as a one-off sale or a subscription model as per usage or a flat fee, etc. And these are also embedded in the ontology. There is a one-on-one mapping then done between the Dome 4.0 class and the EMMO, as can be seen on the right. This enables us to do the fairness monitoring. Here we have used Fuji as one toolkit. Again, we are still in the learning phase. This is just to show you one example from the showcase 6 that I presented earlier, in terms of just a quantitative score that you can get or that you can retrieve via the online platform. The online platform in alpha version is available on the DigitalOcean cloud, and this is being continuously improved. So that's still work in progress. I think I've reached to the end slide, and this is just to just to say that Dome 4.0, we're in month 30 and working on trying to tackle the problems with information silos, lack of interoperability, and data sharing for B2B showcases. The offline or the standalone showcases demonstration for all 9 has been completed. It's the onboarding onto the Dome ecosystem, which is the hard work in progress at the moment. And the use of ontologies throughout in terms of the ecosystem ontology, the data set ontologies is in progress to enable us to provide services such as fair monitoring, search query, authentication, provenance, and sovereignty. So yeah, again, sorry about, I have no idea why you couldn't see the slides that I was progressing through. My apologies for that. But I'll send a copy of this presentation and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, we as the organizers must apologize for that. But first, thank you, Amit, for the presentation. We must have time for one question. How's the situation? Amit, I have to ask, what is a data prosumer? I didn't get that.
So data, can you hear me, Martin?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, in short, just I would say a fancy terminology to combine provider with consumer. So nothing, yeah, that's where we are. So it covers both the data providers and the data consumers, but in different sort of management journals, prosumers mean different things. So I don't mean to say that this is a universal definition. This is how we interpret it in Dome 4.0.
Other remarks, urgent remarks from anybody? That doesn't seem to be the case. Should we reconvene in at half? Yeah. Yeah, thank all the speakers. And it was a very adventurous, very nice, unusual session.